What job position is 100% overvalued and overpaid? I am here for a potential change of career. So what have we got so far, guys? I wondered if anyone else clicked on this looking for job ideas. Hey! About 2/3 of the upper-level admins at the university I work for. I am the payroll person at a state university, and I completely agree with this. The people in upper management aren't even in union-protected jobs who, in theory, should be the first ones gone when we need to settle the budget problems we have. Instead, they were the only ones who got raises during COVID. The one I had at my last office job. I was originally hired to be the manager of a new project, but the project was never launched and I had a long-term contract. After 5 months of being paid by only clocking in and out without doing any actual work, someone saw me in the pool for available associates and invited me to join their project as a frontline agent. Apparently at some moment the database just marked me as an available employee, without mentioning the rank I had been hired for. I stayed in the company for 6 years, getting paid the salary of a manager, but with the responsibilities of a regular agent. I rejected every offer for growth I had, as I was only working there to pay for a debt. In the end, I made my money with very little stress, and left the company in great terms. Edit. Thanks for all the attention. I really didn't expect it to get so much traction. Here's an answer to a couple common comment I've seen. First, if it was so good, why did I leave? Simple. This job had nothing to do with my own career path. A few years back my life basically crumbled to pieces. I got into some really bad debt and at some point I just had to get a job, even if it was an office job I didn't want. Worked for 2 years in another company before I was recommended for the position in the one mentioned in my post. The day my debt was paid off was the day I presented my 2-week notice and left in great terms. I was lucky to have a nice team around me. Second, no, I won't mention the company or project. It was as an analyst in a streaming app. No, not the super big ones. What I actually did as a frontline agent was a hybrid of customer service and developer support, all text-based. Third, it was indeed a very fortunate set of coincidences and I took advantage as much as I could, but I left due to my own pursuit. I'm doing good with my own independent endeavor, and no salary will be more valuable than my own sense of accomplishment of making a living out of what I love doing. Cheers, Reddit. Talk about a free resume booster too. My uncle was a commercial airline pilot. He described his job as vastly overpaid in normal circumstances and vastly underpaid in emergency situations. Firefighters and paramedics are in the same boat. $60.80K a year in some places to pick up old people off the floor, but only $60.80K to manage the pulseless and dying child at 3 in the morning. President of FIFA. If someone else is regional VP, they are either drowning in responsibilities working 70 hours a week, or they have absolutely nothing to do other than collecting a check. I would expand this, personally. Call it the Michael Scott theorem. In any company of sufficient size, there is at least one layer of management that is completely useless, but kept around as a dumping ground for people who earned a promotion but really should have stuck to non-management work, nepotism hires, and people who definitely shouldn't have been hired but are kept around so the person who approved hiring them doesn't get embarrassed. Regional director here. 70-hour-a-week camp. One think I'm doing it wrong. Fuck. One night I babysat 3 kids for about 2 hours or so. The kids went to bed when I got there, and the parents had left dinner out for me, so all I did was eat their food and watch their TV and pet the dogs. When they got home the mom paid me $100. I told her that was way too much. She slurred, "Don't worry about it, I'm drunk." And then I noticed her fly was down. So that was the most overpaid job ever, lol. One of the smartest moves you can make as a parent is treat those who take care of your children incredibly well. I always overpay my sitters. They're worth every penny with the peace of mind they give me. You're not being paid for the night everything goes well. You're being paid for the nightmare night. Member of the International Olympic Committee, IOC. They've had a lengthy history of excessive demands. $4 million US spent on entertainment in Nagano, traffic lanes dedicated to IOC members during the games, etc. They make very few decisions, all of which are politically motivated. They travel extensively and are paid well for it. From the article, although technically a volunteer, the IOC president receives a yearly allowance of $251,000 and lives rent-free in a 5-star hotel and spa in Switzerland. Quote, I wouldn't mind that job. How do I apply? Do they teach corruption or a job requirement? Ferrari strategist. You'd think out of pure dumb luck they'd eventually make a correct call, right? You'd be wrong. Hospital CEOs. And actually almost all hospital upper management. There are so many layers of management that many of them barely step foot into a healthcare facility ever, let alone ever speak to a patient, yet all of them make 6, 7, 8-figure salaries plus mega bonuses. My hospital network CEO makes $11 million salary not including bonuses, which bothers me, but bothers me even more are all the board members and shit directly under him making nearly as much. It's hundreds of millions of wasted money paid to the people trying to screw staff out of good pay and screwing patients into paying big bills. I'm a physician, currently in residency. The CEO of our huge hospital system was doing his rounds in the pre-op area, in his little suit, saying hi to people. He picks up a surgical marking pen and says, "What's this for? What a crock of shit." My mum, from whom I am estranged, works as the vice president of reward at an international company. She basically arranges contracts so millionaires can get more money and gets paid £189,000 a year for it. Even she thinks it's ridiculous. Gosh, even the title of that job, vice president of reward, sounds made up. Like something you'd give a nepo baby to keep them busy. Mine. Lol, but I'm not gonna tell my employer that. I still don't know what big firm consultants do. I do consulting. It is just either outsourced office work or creating fluffy PowerPoints to give executives an excuse to authorize spending. It's not a bad gig. Consulting refers to the business of getting seasoned, expert advice from 23-year-olds. They get paid to be the bad guy essentially and to outsource blame. My IT director. He's never around, automates his email, and he has his own company. So many IT directors are not techs by any stretch, but just management that filled the void. They end up hiring MSPs to do the work. They pretty much balance the budget and approve requests for permissions or product purchases. Generally, US government contractor positions requiring high security clearances. Entry-level pay isn't that high, but once you're cleared, other contractors will offer bigger bucks because you can get cleared with them quickly. Jump from one to another, wait 2 years, do it again, lather, rinse, repeat. Life coach. This girl I know became a life coach and charges $300 $500 per person for a 4-hour seminar that a friend of mine used to help her set up for. Friend said all it was 4 hours of her saying these people are great and doing yoga plus breathing exercises. And she had repeat customers and often 4 to 8 people per class. $2,400 per weekend to tell people they are awesome and do a few yoga stretches. Fucking wild. In-house legal for a corporation. I basically browsed the internet most of the day in my office, maybe reviewed 1 or 2 standardized contracts and occasionally sat in during a firing. I made $80,000 a year plus benefits. Edit. To clarify, I am a paralegal, not an attorney, and the work was limited to contracts and entity formation. Do car salesmen really do any work anymore? Last time I bought a car I looked online, did my research, and knew exactly what I wanted and basically showed up ready to buy. The dealer just gave me the keys for a test drive, then did the paperwork for me. You'd be surprised how many people just go to the dealership having done absolutely no research. You were a dream customer, and 10% of customers are like you. Anyone who makes a ton of money by inserting themselves into big transactions and charging fees as a percentage of the transaction, brokers, title companies, etc. Gillette engineers. They took 5 years to go from 3 blades to 4. And they got the idea from reading The Onion.